Oh, how's it going, everybody? We're back for another edition of All In, where I'll pick an artist and I'll listen to the entire discography and give my thoughts on it. The rules go like this: the artist in question must have 5 or more original albums. Cover albums can count. I generally don't do live or acoustic albums unless everything's original to that form. So, here we go. So, I told you we're going to feature a band from the new metal era, possibly the most hated. We got Limp Bizkit. That's right. So, here we go. So, they have a total of 6 full-length studio albums, going anywhere from $3 Bill Y'all from 1997, which is their debut, all the way to their album Still Sucks, which was as recent as 2021, so, like, 4 years ago. So, yeah, let's get started. So, $3 Bill Y'all, that's where it started. And so, kind of a story behind this album. I really didn't know this. I really didn't have this album until I bought, like, Significant Other, and I'm sure, like, most of the Limp Bizkit fans who bought this album bought the other one first, and then kind of stepped back and went to this one. So, what we got here is the song Pollution. We got Counterfeit, which is a single off of this, but not real popular. Stuck, Nobody Loves Me, Sour, Stalemate, Clunk, Faith, this is the breakout song on this. It was a George Michael cover. Stinkfinger, ooh jeez, Indigo Foe, Leech, and they end with Everything. So, this album here, it definitely sounds a lot different than all the others. Like, they have a more raw metal sound, but not really like that mainstream sound, you know what I mean? It's kind of more underground, if you will. But, yeah, if you're a Limp Bizkit fan, definitely recommend it. But to be honest, I was not really a big fan of it. It was one of those, I listened to it maybe twice and then shelved it. And then I listened to it again for this All In, just to see if I could get a different perspective on it. But I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not the best either. So then we move on to where they really got big. That's right, Significant Other. This came out in '99, and so we start off, of course they have their intro. We got Just Like This, the breakout song, Nookie, the really popular song, Break Stuff, Rearranged, which was also popular for the time. You got Unbroke, Nobody Like You, Don't Go Off Wondering, 1999, which is spelled in the number 9, the word teen, the number 90, and the word 9. Kind of weird. Then you got In Together Now, which they got like a guest rapper on there. I think it was Exhibit that did a guest vocal on that. You got Trust, No Sex, Show Me What You Got, A Lesson Learned, and of course the outro. And this is definite nostalgia right here. I actually went back and listened to this and the next album in my truck on the subwoofer because it's very bassy. If you have a subsystem in your car, definitely listen to this on your subsystem for sure. My buddy Josh from back in the day, one of the Roy's boys, he was bigger into them than I was, honestly. I think he had like 2 copies of this CD because his one CD player like took the disc and he couldn't get it out. And eventually he did retrieve it, so he had like a couple copies of it. Plus he had a shirt that had this emblem on it. But yeah, I don't care who you are. Like, hate on them as much as you will. I think they're still good. We move on to Chocolate Starfish and Hot Dog Flavored Water. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing. That's exactly how this starts off. So here you got the song Hot Dog, which that song probably sets the record for the most amount of F-bombs in like a 3-minute song. Real hilarious. Of course, I was old enough to not have to worry about sneaking it past my parents because I was at the age where they wouldn't have cared. Had I been maybe 5 years younger, I would have snuck it past my parents, I'm sure. Anyhow, you got Hot Dog, My Generation, you got Full Nelson, My Way or the Highway. You got Rollin', which is like real popular. That's the breakout track off of this. You got Living It Up, The One, Get Your Groove On, Take a Look Around. That's Take a Look Around's they use that also in the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack. So it's kind of like their version of Mission Impossible. You got It'll Be Okay, Boiler, which was a single but not all that popular. And then they did another version of Rollin', the Urban Assault Vehicle version, which features like a couple rappers, and of course the outro. So, yeah, I would say like these two albums here were peak Limp Bizkit for sure. Like I remember when like they were announcing that this album was coming out, very highly anticipated. So then we were moving on to Results May Vary. So yeah, we're still in the actual nu metal era here, but this is where I think they started to take a little bit of a downturn. I mean, yeah, it still had a couple popular tracks. So, okay, starting with the re-entry, we have Eat You Alive, which was a breakout track to that one. And, yeah, '03, I think I said it was an '03. We got Eat You Alive, Give Me the Mic, Underneath the Gun, Down Another Day, Almost Over, Build a Bridge, which, it's kind of a mellow song. Red Light, Green Light featuring Snoop Dogg. The Only One, Let Me Down, Lonely World, Phenomenon, Creamer, Radio Is Dead, Head for the Brigade, and then we also have Behind Blue Eyes, which is a Who cover. I would say this is the most popular track off of this album, and I would say their last popular track they did. And then, of course, you got Drown. So, I mean, all in all, the album was okay, but it wasn't near what the last two were. So, yeah, I would say this is where they really started to sort of slump. And then, okay, we'll talk about the EP, The Unquestionable Truth, which this came out in '05. So, you kind of have a theme going on here. So, The Unquestionable Truth Part 1 is the title of the album. They never did do a Part 2, which is kind of weird. You have The Propaganda, The Truth, The Priest, The Key, The Channel, The Story, and The Surrender. Which, The Truth, actually, I think is the best song off of this compilation. But, I mean, the rest of it I didn't care for. It's almost like they got like, real dark. Like, the party was going and it just got real dark, you know? It wasn't like that fun-loving era of Limp Bizkit like you had with like, you know, Significant Other and Chocolate Starfish. And then, of course, in 2005 also, we had a Greatest Hits compilation, which also had 3 new tracks. And what's weird is, they actually did a cover of Home Sweet Home mixed with Bittersweet Symphony. That was like the only single off of that. But I would say this was like their last mainstream exposure at this point. Like, it was like after 2005, what the hell happened to them? You never heard anything about Limp Bizkit after that. Not a thing. And I thought this was it. This was their last hurrah. So a couple years ago, I sort of went down the rabbit hole of researching bands, like, where are they now? Are they still around? Well, as it turns out, in 2011, we get Gold Cobra. And, like, I never knew about this until, like a couple years ago. Yeah, it's weird. Like, whenever Chocolate Starfish was getting ready to come out, everybody knew it. When Results May Vary was getting ready to come out, everybody knew it. Gold Cobra, nobody knew it. And, so, yeah, this is the very first time I ever heard this whole album. Like, I have, like, listened to a couple tracks off of it when I discovered it a couple years ago, but I went through and, like, heard the whole thing, you know, just today, actually, as I'm taping this. So, we start off with Intro Brawl, they always do the intros, like I said. Bring It Back. You got the title track, Gold Cobra. You got Shark Attack, Get a Life. Shotgun, which is a single off of it. Douchebag, gonna fuck you up. Fuck you up. Yeah, Durst still swears a lot on this. Walking Away, Loser. Auto-tunage, which that track is like all auto-tune. I wasn't really a fan of it. I never really cared for auto-tune anyway, so I was like, eh. Unless maybe he was like making fun of the auto-tune, I don't know. You got 90.2.10. You got Why Try and Killer and You. And I didn't hate the album. Again, I didn't hate it, but I didn't care for it either. So then we move on to 2021. They waited 10 years to come out with another one recently. And here again, I didn't know about it until, like I said, a couple years ago. And this album is entitled Still Sucks. And the cover shows like it's like a cartoon cover of the members, and there's like this robotic maid that's sweeping them up. So, talk about a total dad joke right there. So, in this track listing, we got Out of Style, which I guess they're kind of making fun of themselves on there. You got Dirty Rotten Biscuit, Dad Vibes, Turn It Up Bitch, Don't Change, which is an NXS cover. Very surprisingly good. I actually like that cover. You Bring Out the Worst in Me, Love the Hate, Barnacle, Empty Hole, Phil Popper, Sneaky Poo, and Goodbye. And surprisingly, I did like this one. It's almost like they were starting to get back to their roots a little bit with this. And it's kind of, I kind of find it funny how they're sort of making fun of their past selves on this. It's like a lot of people hated them. A lot of people think they suck, and you know, they knew it, and they're just kind of like, you know, like, yeah, we sucked. What of it? They don't care. Fred Durst never gives a shit. You ought to know that. But, you know, all in all, not a bad album. So, I'm trying to think. How do I want to rank these? Oh boy, that's going to be a tough decision. Oh, let me see here. How do I rank them? I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two eras. So we're going to do the actual nu metal era. So it's going to, like, anything from like 97 to 05. So as far as the good and the bad, I would say my least favorite in the earlier era would be $3 Bill, Y'all. I mean, it's almost, I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, they were sort of at their infancy, you know, trying to get themselves out there. You know, the production was a little raw on it, but like I said, first album. You know, you got the hit Faith, so I mean, that's not a bad song. But I mean, I would say in that era, probably my least favorite album, which is unusual for me to say because usually first albums with bands are almost always like maybe top 1 or 2. My favorite, oh boy, I would say it's a tie between Significant Other and Chocolate Starfish. Like that was like their commercially most successful era too, between them two albums. Results may vary. It was okay, but not the best. That's like after Chocolate Starfish, I kind of like dipped out and didn't buy any more of their albums. So I had like Results May Vary and anything from then on download. But as far as talking, like, from 2011 to 2021, Still Sucks did not suck. It was the better of the two there. Gold Cobra, I didn't hate it, but not as good as Still Sucks, if that makes sense. But yeah, so there we go. So another dip into the nu metal world with Limp Bizkit. And I'm sure a lot of you didn't think I would go through the trouble of doing this all in. I wasn't sure what I was going to think about the newer albums, but I didn't hate them. I feel like if Still Sucks was made in like say 2003 or so, I think it would have been a success, honestly. But yeah, it surprised the hell out of me when I did the research and saw that, wow, they did like 2 more albums. Like that's how bad their popularity dipped. Now, some personal experiences with Limp Bizkit. I did actually get to see them live with Metallica at the Summer Sanitarium tour, and it was 2003, so Results May Vary was just coming out. They were out there promoting that album. So it was like right before their popularity had diminished, like right before they were like gone. But yeah, so next video, we're going to step back to the 80s again. And for those of you in Central PA, they're a very local band. Find out who it is next time.